Hey guys, welcome back to MMA Library. Today in MMA and UFC news, Jon Jones brushes off the idea of a potential fight with Sergei Pavlovich in the future. During a recent interview, here's what he had to say.
Yeah, he's very exciting. I believe his last 6 fights have been first round knockout, which is very, very impressive. He kind of reminds me of a Glover Teixeira when I fought against Glover. When I fought Glover, I think he was on like a 17 fight win streak. Primarily a puncher, not much of a kicker. I think Glover's a lot more well-rounded, but yeah, this kind of reminds me of a Rampage Jackson, a Glover Teixeira, kind of Alexander Gustafsson, one of those guys who are kind of a one-trick pony. And I don't know if we'll ever fight. You know, right now my goal is to have one more big fight against Stipe Miocic, Madison Square Garden, and then kind of hang it up from there. So who knows what the future holds, but yeah, he is exciting.
Henry Cejudo invites Robert Whittaker to come train with him if he ever gets the trilogy against Israel Adesanya. Here's what Cejudo had to say.
I gotta motivate your boy Robert Whittaker. Robert, you already know, you see my fight feedback that I did on you. I think there's a lot that I do believe you can reclaim that 185-pound title. Fine, bring the engineers, man, to you. You know, learning how to use your leverage, man, like jumping into other positions rather than losing them. You know what I'm saying? Recognizing that distance a little bit more, adjusting your stance, that lead leg. I mean, that could be the biggest difference for Robert Whittaker when he beats Israel Adesanya. And I've said it before, I've never chased anybody, Robert, but there's one guy that I really like to teach and really have him really dissect this, beyond the cringe. It's actually you, bro.
Whittaker was then asked about taking Cejudo up on the offer.
Definitely. It would be a privilege to be able to pick his brain and see what he can give me to make me better. That is my dream of the sport. It's just to become the perfect version of myself in combat sports, in the fight game. So I'd let him get his weekend done, and I'll get my July fight out of the way, and then I would be honored to be able to go over there and to work with him. Work with that mind.
Jorge Masvidal sends a quote-unquote job application to a marketing agency called the Moment Lab.
Jorge Gamebred Masvidal. After fighting. Retired now, and I've been thinking, what am I going to do with my life now? Well, I came across this website, and then a lot of people talking about it in the streets as well. The Moment Lab. And I'm applying for the executive director of execution. No, I'm playing creative department, right? Because I'm like super duper creative. You want to know how? Okay, when I was a little kid, I was like, I'm gonna be a fighter. I'm gonna do all these techniques with this creative juices in here, and then put it out there, right? So I did that, and I'm not fighting no more, but I still got like a lot of ideas and stuff. You guys are doing great things, but I think it could be a lot better if you just hire me and just pay me my outrageous salary. A couple things, once after you hire me, I gotta get paid in cash under my mom's name. My dad and my mom both need like dental and medical insurance, and then a couple other things here and there, but yeah, as your new creative director, I accept the position, and thank you guys. I'm very honored. Thank you guys.
Aljamain Sterling says that we are yet to see the best of him inside the octagon. I gotta let you guys decide on that. I mean, there's more. If you're asking if there's more up the sleeve and in the arsenal, definitely for sure. There's a lot of things I haven't been able to let go yet, but I take what the fight gives me. I try not to force things. In training camp, I could try more stuff, make more mistakes, and there's less consequences compared to in the fight. So I try not to make too many mistakes when I'm in there. I'm a little bit more dialed in, and I don't take as many chances as I do in the room. Maybe this one you guys will get to see me a little bit more free, and we'll see what happens. I think I got the size advantage, I got the range, I got the grappling, and I think people are forgetting that I can actually strike. I struck with some of the best guys. Jimmy Rivera, Pedro Munoz. Corey's famous on the feet when it comes to striking, and I struck with him. There's a lot to be shown to the world, I guess, to answer your question. Drew Dober calls Paddy Pimblett the Jake Paul of the UFC during a recent interview. Dober goes on to claim that Paddy needs to mature and grow up.
Yeah, Paddy's name's great. It's fun. I feel like he's like the Jake Paul of the UFC right now. He's bringing in a lot of attention. But really, the opportunity that excites me the most, not his name, is that O2 Arena in London. Fighting in front of the English crowd would be so much fun. Like I said, whether you love me or hate me, I just love the energy, and they bring in so much energy.
And what do you think of him personally as an opponent and as a guy?
I think he has a lot of growing up to do. I think, I mean, I made those mistakes in my early 20s as well, you know, inside the octagon and outside the octagon. I think he's going to mature well as long as he listens to good advice, but he definitely needs some time. And so I feel like this injury works out better for him as long as he trains, improves the areas that he needs to improve, and then he just keeps that social status. And I think he's going to be a Conor McGregor-ish.
Dana White sits down with the Schmo and discusses various topics, including Henry Cejudo's ultimate goal of facing Volkanovski. Here's the clip.
Listen, I love the fact that a guy who retired early, in my opinion, when he comes back like this, he has, you know, he wants to beat Aljamain Sterling, he wants to go after Sugar Sean, then he wants to go after Volkanovski. I love that kind of stuff, and I guarantee you the fight fans love it too.
Dana then goes on to discuss this weekend's co-main event between Gilbert Burns and Bilal Muhammad.
Well, even more than that, I think what happens is you look at these two guys who you know, where they sit in the rankings, to come out and risk everything the way that they are so that they can be in line for a title shot is huge. And I love guys like this. Both these guys are savages, and there should be no booing for Bilal Muhammad. I agree. We're in Aljamain's neck of the woods, but you have to respect what this guy is doing.
And finally, Dana gave us some news on Khamzat Chimaev's next fight.
Yeah, we've been looking at a lot of different opponents for Khamzat, but yeah, I do not like the Usman fight, and I told Usman that. I don't do catch weights. Catch weights don't mean anything. There's nothing interesting or exciting about them, because at the end of the day, when the fight's over, neither guy really advances in any way, shape, or form.
Nick Diaz recently got into a heated back and forth with a California rapper. Here's the footage.
Be all right. I'm gonna be all right.
Hey, bro, chill.
But he talking about, oh, you don't know who they are. Who it is? I'm gonna let you down, bro. That ain't check it out. Look at bottom line is you're gonna be all right. We don't want any problems. I said that. Right. I'm trying to resolve the situation. Hey, honestly, what do you want to do though? What do you want to do? What are you talking about? We're good. Everything's fine. We're leaving. Because I don't get down like that. Like what? It was an accident. What you mean? You talking about do you want some? What are you talking about? I said you gonna be all right. You gonna be okay or what? You said do I want some or what? I said what is it that you want? Oh, that's what you said. Want some? We don't want some or what? Look, everybody. What are we talking about here? Everybody, we don't know. It was an accident. Come on, let's go. Why are you trying to make a? We going? I'm not trying to make a big nothing out of it.
Robert Whittaker claims Israel Adesanya is not interested in a trilogy fight. During a recent interview, Whittaker explains why Adesanya doesn't want to fight him. He doesn't want to fight me, you know. I'm the hardest fight in the division for him, and you know that first one, not so good for me, the second one nearly. This third one though, I have a really good feeling. If you watch back my fights, every fight I've been getting better, and I think I'm the biggest threat to him in his reign at the present moment. So of course he wants Dricus to win, you know it's a much easier fight. But yeah, it doesn't bother me, if anything it's kind of funny. During a recent edition of the Believe You Me podcast, Demetrious Johnson gives his prediction for this weekend's main event between Henry Cejudo and Aljamain Sterling.
So, you know, obviously I'm going for Henry, but the biggest thing that Henry's going to have to overcome and battle through is him being off for 3 years. Aljamain Sterling is the bigger bantamweight and taller, and I do give Aljamain Sterling the grappling advantage. Now, grappling is different than wrestling. So if Aljamain Sterling is able to do what he does best, which is get on people's back, lock up that body triangle, flatten Henry out, beat him up, and look for a choke, we can see, and still, we can see Aljamain Sterling beating Henry Cejudo. So Henry's got to go out there, be fast, use his footwork, use his feints, and, you know, use his wrestling to get where he wants, but ultimately look for that knockout. Like, that's what Henry needs to do. And Aljo's got to be unorthodox. Wild punches, wild kicks, push the pace, get him against the cage, and try to get his back.
If Aljamain Sterling can't take down Henry Cejudo, can he still beat him?
I don't think so, no. Henry's too fast on the feet. He moves better on his feet. I mean, obviously it's a fight. Fight's a fight. Anything can happen, right? But Henry's so good at judging distance that I think Aljo's going to have a hard time dealing with the way Henry controls distance.
Guys, thanks so much for checking out the video. If you like the content we do here on this channel, don't forget to like and subscribe to MMA Library for all the latest MMA and UFC news. We'll see you in the next video.